but it's an insight into Bert's mind. He just made up his own story about me.
Interesting.
And that's how it. So you would say, yeah, you just lawyered the shit out of that. You go, so you would say that's how you think.
I don't want to be part of any.
We're trying to take over, and this is how we take
Yeah,
over.
we're taking over.
Take over.
Yeah.
We got you back.
I think it's safe to assume that everyone watching this video knows who Bert Kreischer is, or at the very least has heard of him, because besides being one of Joe Rogan's closest friends, Bert Chrysler for the last couple of years has had one of the top selling comedy tours, selling out arenas, and technically doing way better than Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, and Chris Rock, which is crazy.
Spending expensive
I'm
lighting.
going to pause you right there. When you say arena tour, that's what you're doing now?
I'm doing arenas exclusively, yeah.
Oh, my God. Can we go to the third floor and I can jump out the window? That way I'll definitely...
No.
In arenas? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you haven't earned it. You've put in the work.
Not only that, but he also has one of the top comedy podcasts with Tom Segura, and they literally just made a movie about him not too long ago. So naturally, somebody like that in today's day and age will get a lot of credit and a lot of praise for being a marketing genius and working super hard, which I'm not saying he didn't do all of that. But when it comes to Bert Kreischer, that one thing that is a little bit difficult to talk about is, you know, his relationship with alcohol, because, for example, recently he has been definitely ramping it up and partying a lot harder, and a lot of his fans, close friends, and even doctors are basically calling him out for his, visible physical change and how hard he has been partying during the last comedy tour.
I'm glad I do it. My calcium score is 0.0.
My calcium score is 0.02. I got a little bit in my
How long ago was it that score?
Recently.
Recently, he says.
Okay.
All right.
What hang on, stop. What do you mean, okay? I got to...
It's okay. The lipid story is longer. It's boring. I'm not going to bother you with that.
Well,
that's a long story.
the other thing Bert has said is that he's stronger than he's ever been, which is true. He's lifting more weights, but he's also gaining weight, and he wants to reduce his weight some, but not.
By the way, it's noticeable now, right? That he's gaining weight.
Yeah.
Everyone can see it now, right?
Right.
Are you a doctor?
So.
And although Bert Kreischer definitely changed compared to last year, where he was completely in denial that there was any possibility that he had a problem, he definitely still gets bothered by those comments. For example, the fact that Dr. Drew's comments bothered him that much shows that he's at some level aware of what's going on, probably read the comments and stuff, but still doesn't really want to do anything about it, and instead wants to get mad at a doctor calling him fat. And listen, Bert probably has a point, but they called him on a podcast, so whatever. And here's the thing. Gaining weight, I don't think is that big of a deal. It's not really that shocking to me because, he works out and he does all that stuff. So it's not that crazy. But what is shocking to me is how big the fight or the drama between him and Joe List has grown ever since. Because since it happened almost 11 months ago, most people thought that it was either over, that they had forgotten about it, or that it was probably overblown and over-exaggerated. But now hearing Mark Norman talk about it more recently on Theo's podcast kind of puts an interesting twist to it.
You know what else is nice? I have two friends, mutual friends who are fighting, and I'm in the middle. I love being in the middle of two friends fighting because they both keep coming to me. Can you believe he said this? Can you believe he said that? Blah, blah. And I'm like, I know. And I love it because I'm off the hook.
Yeah.
But I get to be the good guy, help both friends, and they hate each other.
Yeah.
It's a blast. Yes, exactly. And they're so into it. They're like, fuck this guy out. I'm like, I know, he sucks. Then the other guy's like, I know, he's the worst. I'm like, oh, it's so bad.
And is that Bert and Joe?
Oh, jeez. Boy, you're good. What are you?
Is that
Nancy Drew over here?
No, Ari Shafir was talking about it.
Yeah. I don't know if they want us to bring it up. But...
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was.
Ari will bring it. He'll put something in your drink, for Christ.
Now, keep in mind that when this first came out, people thought that Mark Norman was talking about Joe Rogan, which I think is hilarious, but he was obviously referring to Joe List. And what's interesting is that Theo Von decided to keep all that in, even though Mark Norman seemed a little bit bothered by Theo Von calling out the names, because to be fair, Ari Shafir did basically share the entire story. But by Mark Norman saying that, it kind of confirms that they have still been fighting even, months after that incident happened, and basically using Mark Norman as the middleman, which is insane because what could they possibly be fighting about all this time after that incident happened, and clearly knowing that one of them is in the wrong? Because to me, it sounds like Joe List doesn't like Bert anymore, but Bert is still trying to do something about it.
Come by tonight. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Should I put on a disguise and heckle Joe List?
Dude, I would not Joe List. I wouldn't. I don't know.
No.
Get Norman.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm gonna just go hang out. I'll text them and see if I can come by.
Well, thanks for having us.
And it sounds like it would be easy to end a relationship like that, but I think it's the fact that they have so many friends in common that it makes it a little bit tricky because, for example, when it comes to Mark Norman, he's very close friends with Joe List, and they have a podcast together that they've been doing for a while. And with Bert Kreischer, Norman was basically touring with him for the Fully Loaded tour, getting paid. But the weird thing is that Luis J. Gomez was also on the Fully Loaded tour and kind of has now decided to take shots at Bert Kreischer. It makes me think that it's probably because the tour is now over and they know about what happened with Joe and Bert and what has been going on. By the way, if you like what you're seeing so far, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps out so much, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You know what? When Bert's like, I have an idea for a trailer. What happens with him?
We do it.
7 people all roll around him. Every comic goes, oh, dude, I'll do it. Let's go right now.
But it's insane.
He has a few more followers.
It doesn't matter. The reason he has those
get them?
followers is because when I met Bert, he had no fucking followers. He was doing 100 people at Levity Live when I met Bert, right?
What year did you meet Bert?
Like 13 years ago. Also, Bert tells a story. He's like, when I met Lewis, he goes, it was like maybe 14 years ago. He goes, Bert's version of the story when he met me is I said, my name's Luis J. Gomez. I'm the Puerto Rican Rattlesnake. I'm friends with Bobby Kelly, which is a hilarious thing to just like open with.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. It wasn't called the Puerto Rican
You
Rattlesnake.
weren't the Puerto Rican Rattlesnake until you know what, dude.
Yeah, and it was way after the fact. But
And you
Bert,
were, yeah.
But it's an insight into Bert's mind. He just made up his own story about me.
Interesting.
And that's how it.
So you would say, yeah, you just lawyered the shit out of that. You go, so you would say that's how you think.
I don't want to be part of any.
We're trying to take over, and this is how we take over.
We're taking over.
Take over.
Yeah.
We got you.
In case you didn't know, comedian Luis J. Gomez has been known for not pulling back punches when it comes to talking about other comedians. For example, he was going at Brendan Schaub for a while a few months back, but it seems like they're cool now since Brendan Schaub is doing Skankfest this year, which is going to be interesting. Now, keep in mind that he did say that on a new podcast that he just started with Bobby Kelly, Dan Soder, and Joe List. So obviously bringing up Bert Kreischer is a perfect move. But essentially calling out Bert Kreischer for being a liar, it's an interesting choice because I think most of his fans or people that listen to Two Bears One Cave kind of have already accepted that Bert Kreischer lies or exaggerates stories to make them funny. And, it's not breaking news, but what's interesting is the fact that Lewis essentially shared a personal story that actually happened to him and called out Bert for lying about it. Which, if more people come out and say similar stories, it could get very tricky. And by the sound of it, Luis J. Gomez and Bobby Kelly are clearly on Joe List's side and are not afraid of taking shots at Bert Kreischer. So there's a chance that more might be coming on that podcast. And I would assume this whole thing is because of what happened between Joe and Bert Kreischer, or what has been going on between them. Because here's the thing. A lot of people did comment on that on my last video saying that what Bert Kreischer did, freaking out and having a meltdown, is not that big of a deal because he was with friends. And I think that's complete nonsense, because even if it was your best friend, if it gets to a point where they can't control themselves and they're screaming at people, they're freaking out, they're almost getting to a point where they're about to get physical, at that point you just cut him off, especially if it's something as silly as getting mad over what kind of food people are getting. It's pretty wild because I thought it was very clear who was in the wrong here. I mean, even Bert Kreischer had a chance to clarify himself and, correct anything that Ari Shaffir said, and he didn't. If anything, it was good that Ari Shaffir was there to call out Bert Kreischer trying to lie on the spot.
I didn't melt down, and by the way, I was blacked out.
Yeah, you did. You melted, bro.
I melted down. Okay, I definitely melted down.
Hold on.
I melted down. I self-corrected, Ari. You know I self-corrected.
Okay. Hold on.
I love when he starts telling a lie and then realize, someone knows the
Ari,
facts.
you know I
Fuck.
self-corrected,
He said
right?
I self-corrected.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
By self-corrected, that's weird.
Can I
corrected
Can I
you.
jump in,
But
though?
yeah, I think I said
I was okay with Thai food, or I was downstairs when you guys and you said, "Don't you ever say you wanted Thai food."
Hey, I love that you accept me for my flaws.
We actually covered this when Ari Shaffir went on Two Bears One Cave and essentially told the story about Bert Kreischer having that meltdown. And the thing is, before that, I think Joe Rogan was the only person to ever call out Bert Kreischer for being annoying or anything like that. But now it seems like more people are actually saying how they feel about Bert Kreischer, which is interesting because that's kind of what happened with Brennan Schaub. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see if more people come out and share how they feel about Bert Kreischer, or if Luis J. Gomez will actually start going after him. Or maybe Luis was just having a little bit of fun and was just playing around. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Follow me on IG if you want to connect. Dislike if you didn't like the video. But that is all we have for today. See ya.